recording right now. This is going to be recorded. You are going to get the recording. You're going to get the slides. You're going to get a checklist, a PDF checklist. And what I would love everyone to do, because this is such a big group and because the chat can move really quickly throughout this webinar, and you're going to have a lot of questions and probably want a lot of follow-up. If you can do me a favor and put your questions into the Q&A portion that you'll see on your tab or your dashboard in Zoom. If you can put your questions in Q&A, it will help us. And I'm here with the operations manager. I will introduce her, Juliet, in a minute. And we're going to be answering your questions. I'm going to be giving the content and going through it pretty quickly. She will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A and answering. And then at the end, we're going to come together and answer your questions. But it does help me if you have a comment. You can put it in the chat if you can't hear me, or if I'm cutting out or you can't see me, that kind of thing can go in the chat. But for the most part, the questions should go in the Q&A. That's only because I can then answer them later. We can keep track of them, and we can see when they come in, and we can just kind of keep track of everything. So, all right, let me see. I'm going to go to the next slide. We are here today to discuss the ways that you can mobilize supporters to fundraise for you, more specifically using GoFundMe Charity, but there are going to be some very overarching tools and tips and strategies that you can use to elevate and amplify your fundraising campaign. So what we're going to be talking about today, Juliet, I wonder if you could turn your camera on and just kind of say hi and give a little wave. And hopefully you're wearing those amazing earrings that you have on in this picture.
Hey, Julia, I am wearing those amazing earrings. I'm having trouble starting my video. It says you have stopped it. So if you want to turn that on, I can show myself.
Did I stop it for you? Hold on, I go to panelists. More. I don't know. I can only mute you. Oh, here we go. Hold on. More. I don't know.
No worries.
I can mute you, but I can't do, I don't know. We'll love technology, don't we? It's the best.
Well, I'm wearing some big flower earrings just so you all know, you can visualize, but that's my face in the picture there. So it's pretty much more of that.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I can't turn on your video. That's so weird. It's not letting me. It's just saying I don't know. Anyway, we know that Zoom likes to do what it does. Hopefully at the end, maybe, you know what? I will try to unmake you a panelist, change role to attendee, and then make you a panelist again. And then maybe we can do video at the end. But I'm really happy to have you here because I am the strategy and content provider, kind of the big picture forest for the trees kind of person. And Juliet is going to be your go-to in terms of strategy as well, but also in the weeds kind of technical questions. She is in the platform all day, every day. And as you can see by her job description, she is dedicated to help organizations use the GoFundMe Charity platform to its fullest extent. So if I can't answer a question, which if it's a technical question, usually I get a little bit stumped. I'm not as well-versed as she is. So we're a good team together. We're a good partnership. I'm going to actually stop my video and we're just going to go through the slides. We're going to talk about some strategic ways that you can really elevate what you're doing and raise more money and drive more donations using the platform. And like I said before, if you do have questions, make sure you're putting them in the Q&A. The chat goes really, really fast and it's hard to get a grasp, but Juliet will also be in the chat and we appreciate that. So I think it's going to be great. Our agenda for today, we're going to do a really quick 30-second intro to crowdfunding, to online fundraising, some ways you can set up your campaign page for maximum success, how to invite your team members via all of the different digital tools you have access to, email, social media, and the campaign manager within GoFundMe Charity, and then how to communicate with and support your fundraisers, and then where to go for help and resources. So we've got a lot to cover today. Probably the number one question that I receive when I'm doing these webinars is, what's the difference between GoFundMe and GoFundMe Charity? And if you're raising money for a 501c3, if you're raising money for a dedicated nonprofit, a charity, you do want to be using the GoFundMe Charity platform. It has more features. You can get access to the donor data. It's optimized for charities because you're going to have control over the branding. There's the features including registration and ticketing tools. There's tax receipts. So the whole platform is designed with the charity customer in mind. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, when we talk about crowdfunding, your crowdfunding campaign, this is a very specific kind of campaign that you're going to run for a very defined project. And this is where a large number of people donate money, often in small amounts, during a set period of time. So of course, there are different features of GoFundMe Charity, like the donate button that you can use year round. But this kind of campaign, we're talking today about how to mobilize your campaign supporters to support you to drive more donations, to raise the visibility of your campaign. This is a set period of time for a very specific project. So I just want to make sure that we all know the different terms when I'm going to be referring to them throughout the presentation. Social fundraising works, and these are statistics gathered by GoFundMe Charity. So we know that over 90%, 95% of NPOs, that's nonprofit organizations, agree that social media shares are effective for brand awareness. So social fundraising, the reason you want to use a platform like a GoFundMe Charity is that it makes it so easy to spread the word to your networks. And it makes it easy for your networks to spread the word to their networks. So what GoFundMe has found is that 1 in 5 donations shared on social media by donors result in a new donation. And since 2012, they've seen over an 80% increase in donation dollars that come in directly from social sharing links. So the more you can optimize your campaign for social sharing, the more donations you're actually going to be getting into your campaign. And another important feature that I want to highlight is the importance of branding, but also the importance of having the entire campaign mobile optimized. So GoFundMe Charity's page and the whole way the user experience works is really best in class because it's optimized so that people are not confused, they're not clicking around, they know where they are, they know what they're supposed to do. It's optimized for donor conversion, for donor sharing, and for user experience. I mean, let's think about user experience, right? We want a seamless user experience. We want Grubhub, we want DoorDash, we want Netflix, we want Amazon. We need everything in one click, and we need it to be frictionless, and we need it to be seamless. And this is what we're talking about today. If it is burdensome and clunky and hard to do, then your supporters are going to be much less likely to share it with their networks. And also your conversions in terms of the people that are coming to your page and actually becoming a donor, your conversion percentage is going to go down. Okay, so with GoFundMe Charity, we'll talk about all the different features today. Your profile is completely customizable. You can have your own branding on it, and you can direct your networks to this. So the very first thing that you need to do is set up your campaign page for maximum success. So how do you do that? There are 3 main phases of successful online fundraising campaigns. Number 1, set up your campaign page for success. We'll walk you through how to do that. Number 2 is invite people. So invite people to participate, right? We can't just set up a page and then just expect people to find us. We do have to be a little bit proactive in terms of inviting team members, and we can do that via email, social media, and the campaign manager. And then step 3 is manage and mobilize your team through regular updates, through regular communication. And I created this quick start checklist for you. You're going to get this as a PDF document when you get the recording and when you get the slides. It's something you can easily print out, share with your team, just making sure that you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. So we're going to go through actually every single step, some more in depth than others, of this quick start checklist. Okay, so let's get started. You want to claim your charity and get started for free. This is the very, very first step. Some of you may or may not have done this. Some of you might be on this webinar and maybe you've claimed your charity, maybe you have not, but this is the very first step. So for those new to the platform, you want to click the Start for Free button on the homepage, and try to use your .org email address if possible. It really is going to help us verify your connection to the charity. It's okay to use a personal email address, but if you do that, then additional documents and verification might be required. Then you're going to search for the nonprofit by name or tax ID number, and then you're going to send us an email. We're going to verify that you are connected with your charity, and you can claim your charity in that way. So like I said before, it is best if you use your charity staff email, because that's going to kind of expedite the process and help us fully connect you with the charity that you're trying to claim. But you can get started fundraising right away. So once you've claimed your charity, we will officially verify your involvement with the nonprofit, making sure that also no one else has claimed it. And this process usually takes, 24 to 48 hours. You're going to receive an email verifying your account with a PIN, and then you're going to use that PIN for full access. So that step is pretty crucial and very vital, because without that, you can't customize and add your branding and do all sorts of fun things that you can then do once you've claimed your charity. So 3 absolutely critical pieces of your GoFundMe charity campaign. Now, these are actually critical pieces of any online fundraising campaign, because what we have to remember here is that GoFundMe Charity, it's a tool, it's a very powerful tool. But if you do not have a compelling title, a compelling story, and a reasonable and relevant and urgent goal, that you will not be as successful as campaigns that do have those 3 things. So the principles of fundraising apply. You have to have a compelling case for support, and you have to tell me the story of your organization and clearly spell out how the funds will be used. So what's the impact? What makes this particular campaign urgent, timely, and relevant? And this is the why now, why this factor. So Goodwill Detroit, this is a link that you can get to see how their campaign is set up, how they're updating their supporters, how they're leveraging their visual assets, how they have set up their entire page. Your gift will provide immediate financial support so they can purchase essential resources to maintain a healthy and safe life during these uncertain times. It's got a great visual, it's got a great story, it's got a great compelling and urgent and relevant ask. So this is where you're going to be telling your story. And this is kind of what it looks like on the back end. Help your donors understand, not maybe just the coronavirus crisis, but why are you raising funds? And be specific about how the dollars are going to be used to help. Now, I have an opinion on whether or not you need to say $10 will get you 10 pencils and $50 will get you 3 backpacks, whatever that might be. I personally, that's not a deal breaker for me as a donor, as long as you can paint a picture and paint a vision for me of what you're trying to achieve. It can't be vague, like too vague, but I don't think you need to get incredibly granular and incredibly specific. Every single dollar does XYZ. If you can do that, certainly do that, because some donors are very right-brained and they really like that. But most donors, they care about the problem you're solving. They care about your solution. They care about the cause. And they just want to know that the money raised is going to be helping alleviate this problem and push the needle on something that they care about. So do not get hung up on the, if I can't say $50 goes to this, right? Do the best you can and tell a compelling story. That's so much more important. So we have some examples for you that you can click on when you get the slides: the Arts Council of Indianapolis, the South Asian Arts Resiliency Fund, Covenant Community Care. And now if you think about it, one of the other objections that I frequently hear, or not objections necessarily, but a huge obstacle and a huge challenge I hear about a lot from nonprofits is that, oh, well, we are not a COVID-19 facing charity. We don't provide PPE. We don't provide masks. We aren't a healthcare organization. Well, a lot of organizations are raising money right now. It doesn't matter if you are, quote unquote, a COVID-19 essential agency. Your mission matters. Your donors care about what you're doing. And every mission matters right now. Every dollar lost matters. So as long as you can convey what you're trying to do and the importance of what you're trying to do, that's important to your donors. It's like I always say, breast cancer, that doesn't take a vacation just because we're in a pandemic. Kids and hunger, that doesn't take a vacation. Domestic violence, animal cruelty, none of this takes a vacation just because we're in a pandemic. All of this is still going on and maybe exacerbated by the pandemic. So think about a way that you can convey to your audience in the language that they will respond to. Some design elements for the campaign to pay attention to that I think are pretty cool. You can choose the theme colors, choose a header logo. It can be your logo or maybe a logo of a community partner, a match donor. Link your logo back to any website URL you choose. Customize the image that's going to be shared on Facebook and the text that's going to be shared on Facebook, so it's very easy and so that it looks great on your followers' social media feeds. So there's a lot of different features that you can use to customize the design elements for the campaign. Make sure you're uploading a compelling photo, because a visual is what's going to capture someone's attention. It almost serves as a hook. It serves as a little bit of an angle that you can provide. So it doesn't have, you're never going to find one image that conveys every single thing that you do. A lot of you provide a multitude of services, a variety of programs, but use an image that's either colorful or action oriented. Maybe it's someone's face, maybe it's an action photo of something. Choose an eye-catching photo that tells the story of your campaign. And the reality is that campaigns, especially GoFundMe charity campaigns that are designed to be shared on social media, they're going to raise more money if they have an eye-catching and compelling photo. So it's very easy to do. JPEG, PNG, you're going to drag and drop. You can change this at any time, so you can change this. But I would really have that your best thing, maybe your Facebook cover photo, whatever it is on your social media channel art, because it's really kind of like your best foot forward. It's a first impression that you're sharing with people that may not know what you do, that might not know what your campaign is about. You want to entice them, you want to get them interested, you want to get them excited. And then there's the button management. So you can change and adapt and edit the order of the buttons as they're displayed on your campaign page. So the default setting is start a fundraiser, but you can do donate, you can do join, you could do start a fundraiser, join our team. And then of course there's the Facebook share button, which should be very prominent, because even if I go to your fundraising page, say a friend sent me, or I'm really good friends with a board member that's on your, on your team, or I'm friends with a staff member, and I can't make a donation right now, I potentially could share it to my Facebook network and share it to my social connections and say, this is something I want you to pay attention to. This is something that needs attention. This is something that needs support. Social shares, like we said before in that slide, result in more donations. And that has just been shown by data. That's not us making it up. So some tips for successful campaigns: eye-catching, colorful photos. Make sure you're clearly showing the impact of the work that you're doing. You can add a video. So what GoFundMe Charity has found is that campaigns with a video raise more than campaigns without a video. Now, when I say video, now this is not a webinar on video, but just a couple seconds on what I mean by video. I don't mean a pre-produced, polished, $5,000, 20-minute explainer video about your whole organization. It could be you sitting in front of your webcam. Yeah, your webcam on your desktop or your laptop or your phone, talking in a passionate and compelling and interesting way about the campaign and showing people, telling people what the money is going towards. It could be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just one person talking. I mean, the reality is we love video. A lot of people are not going to read, they're going to skim, but they will watch a 30-second video. Another tip for your campaign is to not hide the total amount raised. So you might be tempted to hide that, but this is a public campaign. We designed this campaign for the public. We want to create excitement. We want to create momentum. We want to get the majority of people on board. We also want to entice people with updates. We want to get them sort of on the train of success and saying, we are a quarter of a way to our goal. We are halfway to our goal. We are 3/4 of the way to our goal. Getting people excited about what we're doing. So this is the way it looks, and it'll change on the back end depending, but you can add a video. The video is going to be the first thing that people see. So it's incredibly important, because I might come to your campaign page based on a friend's recommendation. I might be a complete stranger to your organization. You don't know that. So you want to make sure that it is eye-catching. It's going to grab my attention. It's going to really, really get people interested and help them understand more about what you're trying to accomplish with this campaign. Okay, moving right along. On GoFundMe Charity, you can invite your friends and supporters to join your campaign and to help you with your fundraising journey. And I think this is where a lot of nonprofits get stuck, because they don't know how, or they don't want to invite their networks to participate. But this is really the only way to drive donations and get people excited and to really create that snowball effect, is we have to be strategic, and we also have to be very consistent in spreading the word. So what does this mean? Go multi-channel, right? Go multi-channel, reach your supporters where they are. If you want to send out a postcard, if you want to call people on the phone, that's completely fine. Put a banner on your website. Tell people that this is a campaign that you're running and what it's all about and where they can go to donate. Send out a series of emails about the campaign. Use your social media channels. Now, if you don't use canva.com, that is a fantastic tool that you can use for graphic design. And you can create graphic design, social media posts for free, unless you want to use their stock photography, but they have thousands of free images, free templates, free fonts, free layouts, all sorts of fantastic stuff that you can use to create social media graphics. Because as we know, on social media, it's very visual. You have to have a visual to go with each post. You could use the social AMP features provided within the GoFundMe platform that are very, very easy to use. And the goal, for some of us, this might not be the goal. For a lot of us, this might be the goal. Aim to turn your donors into fundraisers, right? So if they gave you a donation, they may or may not be willing to actually start a fundraiser on your behalf and link it to your campaign. So I think that is really, really a cool idea. There are so many free integrations that you can use to pull donor and fundraiser data into your CRM or your database right? So you can import donor info and stats into MailChimp, into Constant Contact, into Salesforce, into Kindful, like into all of these different integrations that we have. And then you can use segmentation to personalize communications for the campaign, and then design direct marketing campaigns for this, which I think is actually really, really pretty cool, because using email to mobilize your supporters is one of the most effective ways to get people's attention. So we do want to go multi-channel. And if you want to, like I said before, send out a newsletter, send out a postcard, call people on the phone, however you want to reach your donors, you do it. You do you. I don't recommend just focusing on one channel, but email is one of the most effective digital marketing channels, because think about social media. So social media, the average reach of a social media post, if you don't boost, it's not a Facebook ad, it's not a social media ad, is about 2 to 3%. Okay. So 2 to 3% of your fans and followers are going to see your social media post. If you have a large following, that's fine. If you post it consistently, more people will see it. But with email, the standard open rate is like 15 to 20%. So you want to make sure that you're leveraging all of these different channels to mobilize your supporters to fundraise for you. So some of the emails that you can customize and put your stamp on it and make it yours. You can customize your donation receipt, the thank you email that donors get. And why not just make it fun? Why not put a little video in there, or an animated GIF, or just an interesting image in the thank you email? We need to remember that our donors are people, and they gave to us because they have big hearts and they're very generous and they're passionate about our cause. So let's thank them adequately. Let's thank and acknowledge them adequately. You can also send out a notification or an invitation to join the team. So you can edit this to provide tips for your fundraisers. These are people that are fundraising for you. They're putting themselves out there and they are asking for money on your behalf. As we all know, no one is born a fundraiser. And in fact, it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. So for all the fundraisers on this call, you have to give yourself a round of applause, because you are doing something that the majority of Americans, the majority of people in the world would never dream of doing. They would be so uncomfortable asking other people for money. So when we mobilize our supporters to become fundraisers for us, we have to acknowledge the courage that it takes to do that. And we have to get them excited and motivated. We have to thank them. We have to encourage them to reach out to us for help, for tools, for resources. And then we have to really inspire them when things go slow, or maybe they're not reaching their goal, or maybe they are getting discouraged because they're not raising as much money. We've all been there. Every one of us has been there. So we need to reach out to them with more information and more tools. There are also, if you see this last paragraph on this slide, within the GoFundMe Charity platform, which I think is something that's really great, Facebook does not have this. So if you have people fundraising for you on Facebook, first of all, you're not going to get their contact information, but you're also not going to get information on whether they're getting towards their goal or not, unless you're going manually to look at each fundraising campaign. But on GoFundMe Charity, on the back end, you can send emails to your team. If they haven't set a goal, you can encourage them to set a goal. If they haven't raised any money, you can reach out to them to see if they need help, where they might be getting stuck, what are the obstacles, what other kind of support can you give them? And that's all on the back end, because you're going to get their information, their contact information, so you can build that relationship with them. So you can see what the donation receipt looks like. This is automatically sent to the donor for each donation made to the campaign. So this is the donation receipt. So it's all done for you. You don't have to worry about doing this on the back end. with GoFundMe Charity. This is the join the team email. So it's sent to new fundraisers when they join your team. You can customize this. You can personalize it with your branding, your language, your logo. You can send them to your website. You can give them a toolkit of resources. You can give them your personal email and phone number, whatever it is. What I recommend doing is giving them examples of what other people are doing, because it's so hard to start a fundraiser from scratch, from a blank page. It's also discouraging if you've been raising money for a couple of weeks and you feel like it should be going better than it is. So giving people advice and inspiration is really, really helpful. This is more what it looks like. This is a little bit closer. Make sure to add lots of great pics, a good story. So you're giving people the tips and the strategies required to create and run a fundraising campaign on your behalf, if they decide to create a fundraising campaign on your behalf, if they decide to start a team. And this is so important because, like I keep saying, we are not born fundraisers. And sometimes people have a misconception that they can just share a link to Facebook and automatically all the donations are going to roll in. And we know that it's a lot more blood, sweat, and tears than just sharing a link one time, right? So we can give all that advice to these people. So how do you send invites to your fundraisers? So if you're contacting people via social media or email, send them the direct campaign link, ask them to click the join the team button. This is going to prompt them to create their own campaigns, which are going to be directly linked to yours. You want to give them explicit and easy to follow, concise instructions. And then you want to leverage all of your existing platforms to mobilize your supporters. They don't have to fundraise for you in order to spread the word and get more donations. So encourage people to share on your behalf, because this gets your message and campaign to go even further. Vary your social media content. This is so important. So don't just cut and paste what you put on Instagram. Don't just cut and paste it for LinkedIn, because what works on Instagram might not work on LinkedIn, and vice versa. I don't recommend just jumping onto new platforms if you don't have an existing community on the platform just to spam everybody with your campaign link. I really don't recommend doing that. If you have a community on Twitter, if you have a community on LinkedIn, if you have one on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, wherever, then share it with that community. But I don't recommend simply starting a social media account just to post the link kind of into the darkness. I don't think that works really well. Photo and video are the leading forms of content on social media in terms of engagement. We can't get away from that. So there have to be photos, there have to be videos where possible. In your content, use the direct URL to your campaign. Okay, so you're not going to share the URL to your website where they have to click and find and figure out where your campaign is. You want to include your GoFundMe Charity URL, the URL that you use to ask people to donate to your campaign. And there has to be a clear and concise call to donate or to start a fundraiser. My best recommendation is throughout the campaign, don't just ask for money in each update. Give updates, provide data, and share stories. Think about what your audience wants to hear from you. What are they interested in? What are they passionate about? What drives them? What motivates them? What inspires them to get involved with your cause? And I wanted to include this update on the right-hand side of this slide. This is the community house where I live in Wenham. And what I want to encourage you to do is to really look at it. They are not a COVID-19 essential charity, but they've built up this community where they feel like, and they are rightly so, they can ask their most passionate supporters for donations. And that's how they use Facebook. And they've created a compelling call to action as well. So you can share your campaign with your entire community using the tools that are in GoFundMe, or you can copy your campaign link. So you can even put it in more places. and put it, in even more communications that you're sharing out. So what I recommend doing also is not just sharing blindly. You want to compose your caption, encourage people to make their social media updates more personal. So rather than me saying, hey, everyone, give to the community house, it's so much more effective if I say, the community house has served me and my family for years. My daughter has started and plays there. We've used their after school care. We are committed. It's a valuable resource in the community, and I don't want to see it go away. That is so much more effective than simply saying, hey, everyone, give to the community house. And people need to understand what makes an effective fundraising post, especially on social media. All right. I wanted to touch also on the campaign update tool, which is one of the absolute best features and most impactful features of the GoFundMe Charity campaign platform. So you want to use the campaign update tool during the campaign. So what you don't want to do is just ask people for money and then they never hear from you again, right? You want to update them. You want to encourage them to get excited, and you want to reach out to them when you've reached a milestone. You want to use photos to convey impact. Maybe you want to take a live video or some kind of video in the field and post it in the campaign update. You want to send it to everyone that's donated to keep them, abreast of what you're doing and really keep the momentum going and keep the excitement up for your campaign. If you have a stretch goal, maybe you accomplish your goal and now you're announcing a stretch goal. This is a great way to get people to kind of rally around you, and also thank people for donating and say, the campaign's still happening. The campaign is still happening. There's still a long way to go. We're making progress. Here's how you can participate. If you made a donation, thank you so much. If you even want to make a bigger impact, consider starting your own fundraiser. And there's some nonprofit examples that I've linked to here, some ways that nonprofits have used the campaign update tool to provide updates and critical information to their supporters. So you can click on those links when you get the slides. They're all on the GoFundMe Charity website. Okay, so the last portion of this webinar is how to communicate with and support your fundraisers during the campaign, because this is huge. Because like I said before, you don't simply want to just mobilize people, get them excited, get them fundraising for you, get them donating, and then never talk to them again. So the activity feed, this is going to help you keep track of your fundraising progress when you're referring back to your activity feed. It displays donations in chronological order. It displays fundraising milestones, and it displays all your fundraisers and or the teams of people that are fundraising for you. And this is hugely powerful because you can refer to this every day, refer to this every week, and really get a snapshot of what's happening, maybe where the holes are, who you need to communicate with, who you need to celebrate. There are 3 ways to drive donations to your campaign. Your nonprofit can drive people to make a one-time donation to the campaign page. Individuals can raise money for you by asking their friends and family, and then multiple fundraisers can join together as a team. So that is an important distinction. And I think all of those working together are going to create the most powerful type of campaign. If you're wondering about multi-team campaigns, these are really great for a family, a relay team. If you're having a virtual gala, or maybe you're having an in-person gala, tables in a gala, I've seen virtual golf tournaments where people have, I don't know what the name is for a group in a golf tournament, but whatever it is, participating together. You can promote your peer-to-peer fundraising with a customized landing page. Maybe you have chapters of your organization under an umbrella page. Those are great for multi-team campaigns. There are also awesome tools for managing your fundraisers. These are the people fundraising for you. If you click on a fundraiser, you will be allowed to take additional actions for this amazing and wonderful individual that you want to celebrate. You can call them something different than fundraisers. You can call them champions or advocates, whatever you want to call this. You can see basic information about their specific campaign. You can message them and message them directly via the platform. And you can direct an email to this wonderful person. What I recommend doing is messaging people when they first join the campaign. Message them if they haven't raised any money yet. Like I said before, trying to encourage them, offer them tools and resources, ask them if they need any help, and then offer encouragement when they're approaching their goal. These people are amazing, I should say, once again. They're raising money for you. They're putting themselves out there. They're asking their friends and family for money for you. Do something special for them. If you're managing multiple teams, that's a little bit more advanced, but some of you, this might be an option that you want to use. You can take additional actions for each team, very similar for fundraisers. You can communicate and manage them, and you can manage multiple team members. You can message the entire team. Teams often have competitions. So, maybe the HR department is competing with the marketing department. I know that happens at corporations when they do charity fundraisers. So you can message the entire team to kind of keep up the momentum and get them excited. And then keep in contact with your fundraisers. Give them tips, get them excited, thank them for their generosity. Really explain to them the incredible way that they are providing impact. And then if you can, send them a video, send them photos, send them other content that they can send out to their networks. And please be accessible. If you're opening this can of worms and you're getting all of these people to raise money for you, you want to be accessible to them if they have questions. And then please, please celebrate them. Now, I think offline touches can be incredibly impactful, especially for digital fundraisers. So a phone call, an email, mail them a shirt, mail them a book, mail them some flowers. Let them know how much they're appreciated, even if they didn't reach their goal. You could just send them an email video. We all have the capability of making really quick, really short videos with our phones, with our desktops. Send them a personal, heartfelt thank you and explain what happened. Explain the impact of what they did. You want to do this with your donors as well, but especially with the people that you've mobilized to become fundraisers for you. Okay, and just some tips to wrap up. Key takeaways for a successful crowdfunding campaign. Number one, create your campaign with your call to action in mind. What are you asking people to do? Sharing the campaign link far and wide. Posting updates, getting people excited, building on the momentum. And then at the end, making sure you're measuring and analyzing and evaluating what you've done, using your campaign results to glean actionable insights so you can create an even better campaign next time. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I have for my presentation. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to look through the questions, and I want to ask Julie to share her video, but I will try to make her let me see, I'm going to search for her. I'll try to make her a panelist again and see if that works. Juliet. Okay. So make sure that you are sending in your questions in the questions box. God, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Zoom is annoying me. Juliet. Okay. I don't know. I think that I can't figure out how to get you to turn your video on, but it's fine. We'll just go with the flow. That's what we usually do. All right. I hope everyone can still hear me and see me. It looks like we have about 13 questions in the questions box, and we're just going to go through. And Juliet, if I get hung up, I will turn it over to you. And actually, I'm going to ask you probably for your input on these questions. Okay. Anonymous attendee, how long should a campaign generally be online? Well, I mean, let's see. I don't know. I guess that I recommend shorter. I think it really depends on what you're trying to do. Every campaign is different, but I mean, I've seen everywhere from 2 weeks to like 6 weeks, but I always think shorter is better, because if it's a campaign where it's a dedicated campaign and you're asking people every single day to spread the word and to donate, then, I don't think you want to be doing that for like 6 months. So to me, I really think that the shorter and more like you're sort of like firing on all cylinders for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I tend to think that that's best. So a campaign is very different from your donate button that lives on your website forever, 24/7, all year round. It's very, very different. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Judith says, hi, Judith. I was told that peer-to-peer fundraising platforms were very expensive, meaning over $1,000. What is your experience? Well, GoFundMe Charity is free. And, they have, let me see. There is, oh, that's Charity How To. Hold on. Charity, I just want to go to the pricing to show you exactly how the pricing works. But yeah, every single charity platform is completely different. So they can vary wildly. I know one peer-to-peer platform that is $5,000 a year that I'm not going to call out the name of. But in terms of GoFundMe Charity, you can do your free or flex option. There's a 0% platform fee. Every single one is going to have a payment processing fee. You can't really get away from the payment processing fee. So there's always going to be that. But, I would do some research on what you're looking for, what the features are, and, exactly the capabilities that you need this platform to have. So you're never going to find a 100% free, like they don't take any kind of payment processing fees. You're never going to find that. At least I've never found that. But you do want to make sure that you are getting a platform that has all of the different capabilities that you want. Okay, let's see. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Let's see. So Jeff says, I'm confused about join the team. Are the recipients creating their own GoFundMe campaign? Okay. So Juliet, you might want to dive in here because I don't want to explain it incorrectly.
Yeah, happy to help. The answer is yes. When someone joins your team, they're essentially creating their own page where they can fundraise from, which gives them an opportunity to tell their own story and really personalize their page, which is the key to peer-to-peer fundraising. So that's why it's important.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably the most impactful piece of this whole thing, is when there are people other than your organization fundraising for you, because that's really the power. I mean, I think that is not even the future of fundraising. I think that's the present of fundraising, where people tend not to trust institutions and organizations as much as they trust their peers. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. This is a good question. Stacy, I'm just going to go through all of them. There are so many ways to slice and dice donors. We can do it by current versus prospective donors, and also by their particular area of interest. If we don't have the bandwidth to get super granular, what type of segmentation would you recommend so that you're speaking to donors in a way that's relevant to them? So, once again, there's just no one size fits all here, but it's sort of a match between your goals and what your donors want. So do you have very specific audiences within your donor base? Are there people that are donating because they like cats? Are there people that are donating because they like dogs? Are there people I'm thinking, like, if you can identify specific audiences in your donor database that don't really have much overlap, that might need very specific information, then by all means do it that way. But if you find that maybe your donor database right now is very small and everyone kind of overlaps, then I really wouldn't worry too much about it. Segmenting is important when you're thinking about maybe monthly donors. So you definitely want to send your monthly donors something different than your regular donors. New donors, brand new donors to your organization, you want to send them something different than your donors that have been giving to you for 10 years. Your major donors, your long-term donors. Maybe you want to segment event donors because they came to you because they joined your event. And you want to segment your campaign donors because they gave to this particular campaign. So they're going to want information about this particular campaign. So that's just kind of a segmentation 101. You don't have to do it. You don't have to include as many segments as that. But I think making it as personalized an experience for your donor as possible definitely is going to increase donor retention and increase that relationship. Is going to strengthen and build that relationship with the donor over time. If they know that you know where they came from, what they're interested in, how much they've given, how long they've given. Okay. Can a 3-month quarterly campaign succeed with continuous updates? We have a great campaign ready to go for the last quarter with a goal of 100K. Juliet, I don't know if you've seen this before. I think that it can. Is this more like a capital campaign? That's kind of what I'm envisioning.
Would you mind reading the question again? I was looking at other questions.
That's okay. Can a 3-month quarterly campaign, so like I guess a 3-month campaign, succeed with continuous updates? We have a great campaign ready to go for October to December with a goal of 100K.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it really depends on their donor base and their supporters, right? Yeah. Like what you mentioned in your presentation, it's important to vary your content and, you know, give them a reason to come back to the campaign. And I'll give you an example. I signed up for American Red Cross updates, and they don't just ask me to donate. The donate button is kind of an after, you know, the fact. They give me information on what they're working on, exciting developments, and that gets me excited. And every so often, I choose to donate. So it really just depends on the information that you are providing to your donors. But it is important to keep posting updates, because that's where we see a lot of reoccurring donations come from.
Yep, I agree. I think if you can raise 100K confidently, then do it. Also, with GoFundMe Charity, you do have the option as the administrator to add offline donations. So if you get like a $50,000 grant or something that didn't come in via GoFundMe Charity, you can add that to your campaign goal. So I think if you're using multiple channels, then absolutely. I think that's fine. I just think as a fundraiser, if you don't have a team, if it's just you and you're one person, asking people for money every day for 3 months, like continually, can be exhausting. But if you've got a campaign plan ready to go, it sounds like you do, and you're very organized, you've got a big group of people to help you, by all means do it. Let us know how it goes too. All right, so it's 12:56. We're gonna have just a few more questions, I think. We've got a lot coming in. Is it integrated with any CRM platform like Salesforce so we can have the donor info in our database? Yes, I believe it's Salesforce and Kindful are the CRMs, right?
Yes,
Constant Contact, correct. MailChimp.
You nailed it.
Okay, so those are the integrations. I know you can also export it and then import it into whatever, but those are the integrations. Okay, this is one for you, Juliet. What languages are available, and is there a translation feature for international communication?
That's a great question. Right now, it is based in English, but we do have a feature that allows, like if you're coming in from another country, you can switch it, but it uses Google Translate. So it's not the best option. GoFundMe, the regular website, is fully translatable for a number of different languages, but GoFundMe Charity isn't quite there yet.
Okay. let's see. Several months ago, my nonprofit ran a GoFundMe campaign with a goal in mind. We never met our goal. The campaign's still active, but basically non-active or stalled. Do you recommend continuing running the same campaign, jumpstart it again, or create a new campaign? So my answer would be, is it the same project? Are you raising money for the same thing? Because if you're not raising money for the same thing, then you probably want to start a brand new campaign, because maybe, you want to update people as to what the other money was used towards. And then I recommend starting a new campaign. But Juliet, you might have a different advice.
With GoFundMe Charity, you can hide the date, but personally, I would start a new campaign, because if a donor goes to that page and they see that donations were from months ago, they might think that they went to the wrong page. So usually if it's been a really long time, I would say refresh, add a new photo, get the word out again. But technically you can hide dates and things. So if you want to do that, it is a possibility. It's really up to you.
Okay. I tried claiming my nonprofit several times, got no assistance. Who do I contact? What can I do? I would say go to NPO support at GoFundMe.com. Tell them that Julia and Juliet sent you and you took this webinar. Or, I would email NPO support at GoFundMe.com directly. They are on kind of standby. They know that we're doing a webinar with a lot of people. And, I'm sorry that happened, but I would just try to contact them again. And if they don't, then you can contact us. I'll put hold on, where's the chat? Why can't I find anything? Okay, I'm going to put my email. I am not, by the way, a tech person. So if you have a question like that, I'm just going to forward it. But if you get very frustrated, you're not getting a response, maybe I can direct you to the right person. Okay, let's see. So I'm only going to answer one more question. So we do have the questions. That's why I encourage people to type into the questions and answers, because the chat just like vanishes into thin air after this, but we will be able to have the questions, so we can answer these at a later date, or we can email you. There's definitely a way to follow up with the questions and answers. So make sure if you typed it into the chat that you take a second to type it into the Q&A so we can go through them later. So this question I really like, because I think that it kind of sums everything up. So Patrick says, what do you do to get people to continue to donate towards a particular project? Now, it's definitely, I could do a 3-hour workshop on this, but you have to give them a compelling reason. You have to show them that this is solving a problem, that you have a solution, that, you're never going to solve poverty and erase racism and solve hunger and, erase violence. It's not going to happen maybe in our lifetimes. I don't know, but you're working towards something. You have a vision, you have an idea, and you're making incremental change. And you have to show people that giving money is helping, like it's part of the solution. So you can't treat people like ATM machines or have purely transactional relationships with your donors. And that's why we talk so much about giving them updates, sharing stories, sharing impact, sharing accomplishments, bringing them along this journey with you, and really forming this partnership where they feel like your organization is part of their identity and who they are. And we know that we do such important work. And so we often feel a little indignant and kind of entitled, like people should be giving us money. We're saving lives. We're doing great work. But it's on us to convince people and show them the importance of what we're doing. And this is not something that's done overnight. And this is not like you're flash in the pan kind of stuff. And to get them to continue giving is you have to show them what their original donation did. So if I gave you $10, $20, $100, what did that contribute to? What did that actually do at the end of the day? And then what are your plans for even expanding on that and making things better? And, you've got this awesome opportunity for me and you want me to rejoin the movement. So that's really my best fundraising advice in 20 seconds or less. So we're at time, and this was fantastic. Thank you all so much for joining us today. You're going to get the slides, the recording, the PDF checklist. We have a lot of fantastic free webinars on deck for you in the future. So keep an eye on your inbox. If you need support, NPO support at GoFundMe.com. Really, GoFundMe Charity's mission is to help you use the platform to change the world, to make a difference, to make life better. So this is exactly what we're here for. So we want to help you do that. So I encourage you to keep doing the great work. Keep it up. Don't give up, and let us know if you need any help. And hopefully we'll see you on another webinar. All right. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.